Page 31, the Hair Stylist. We got 2-note slurs again. This time the hands are doing them differently. Oh, this is going to be fun. We've already had the 2-note slur and the technique where your elbow goes out a little bit and then up. If you want to use that. The technique I typically use or taught my students was you come down at the beginning of a slur or a phrase and you lift up at the end. And this is all it is. The elbow doesn't do anything. It just, the arm is doing it all. The wrist is doing it all. And you can't see it from up above. I can exaggerate that for you, but that's really the way I taught phrasing and even 2-note slurs. But if you want to do the elbow thing like the book showed earlier, go right ahead. Just don't get too much, because in this one you will look like you're flapping your wings if you do it too much. So if you're playing this and somebody's behind you and they're laughing, you're probably flapping your wings, because it is quite a sight to watch. You might want to videotape yourself from the back just to see what you look like. It's quite entertaining sometimes. But this time, the notes, the hands are doing the phrases in different times. So I'll come back to that. Yeah. Right hand, let's just talk right hand. Now this is in the key of F major, so you have one flat, B flat, but there are B naturals. Because just look at that first full measure, you have a B natural. So it's, because that first note is a pickup note. You know, an eighth note, this is in 3/8 time, so an eighth note gets a count and there's 3 of them in a measure. But there's only one beat in that first measure, so it's a pickup beat, so that's beat 3. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And that's the way the right hand is going. And then over toward the end of the first line, there's an 8 VA. So rather than here, you gotta come up here. Gotta look down at your hands to do that. That's quite a jump. And then you come right back down where you were. Now watch out in the second line when you get to the third measure over. That's not a B natural. There's no natural sign, so it's a B flat. And then 8 VA again. Come back down. Now we have a B natural again. Etc. Last line. Second measure. You gotta scrunch up a little bit or move your hand over a little bit, so the second finger now is going to play the C instead of the third, because we've been using third finger on it now. And then octave higher. Yeah, that's the right hand. Now the left hand. You simply have the primary chords. The F chord is the 1 chord on the first line. Then in the second line, the last 2 measures, you go to this chord. I mean, you're not playing them all at the same time, but you're going to hear the sound. 5/7 chord and the 1 chord. It's the only chords we're using here in this piece. But the slurs are at different times, because you're here. Now, I have a bit of a problem here. We'll see what happens. When I get this kind of thing, I have a tendency to play the second note of the slur staccato. And that's technically incorrect, because it's not marked staccato. It's not marked anything, so I suppose if I really wanted to do a staccato, they're not telling me I can't, but really you should hold it out a little more. In other words, I'm going to lift up, look at the first full measure. A B in the right hand and an F here. I'm going to lift up on the B when I play the chord in the left hand. And then I'm going to lift up the chord when I play the C in the right hand. And they're going to do this back and forth. Got to go really, really, really slow till you get the hang of it. I tend to play the second note short. It's just a habit. It is an interpretive thing. You can do it. I would not play it in staccato. That's too short. But you can play them a little short. Makes them rock a little bit. It's just an interpretive. But technically speaking, You need to play it accurately as it's written first, and then if you want to change things, that's up to you. That way you're changing things, you know you changed them. You didn't change them accidentally or because you're sloppy with it. On the third line down, be careful because you have the B naturals in the right hand. For the line, it happens a couple times. And in the last line, it happens again. But in the left hand, you're playing a 5/7 chord. That's a B flat. So keep that in mind. You're playing a B natural in one hand and a B flat in another. So let's try this out very slowly and see how it goes, just to check the notes and the rhythms and all that. The dynamics, you do the dynamics. In this case, the melody's in the right hand. Now, how do I know that? Because the hands are, how do you know that's the melody? Well, first off, the left hand's just playing the chords. But more importantly, the words they provided go with the notes in the right hand. And that tells me the right hand gets the melody. So the right hand's the melody. So those dynamics given, there's only one that I can see is an MP, applies to the right hand. So you're going to play that medium soft. The left hand's got to be soft or softer. Go. We want to hear the right hand. I put the metronome on 80, but it's beating eighth notes because we're in 3/8 time. So I'm going to give us a full 3 counts plus 2 more. That's 5 total. And then we come in because there's a pickup beat. So go ahead and put your hands where they go. 1, 2, 3, ready, go.